First of all, let's go to a chat that I did with Robert Smith ahead of The Cure's headline slot tonight on the Pyramid stage. It's Radio 2, and it was quite a few weeks ago, maybe months ago, when I was saying that all the people I would really like to speak to and I never had, and also bands that I would really like to see and never have, are The Cure and Robert Smith. And lo and behold, he's here on the end of a phone, and I'm talking to Robert Smith from The Cure.
Yes, there is a Father Christmas after all, yeah.
Yeah, dreams do come true. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm really well. I'm really happy to be talking to you because I am a very big fan, and you were my musical education when I was at school, so all that kind of comes into play. And I've never seen you live in Glastonbury. How are you feeling about tonight?
Yeah, it's been a long time since we played at Glastonbury. We did 3 headlines in a row, like from 86, 90 and 95. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good.
Why this year? Why did you decide that this would be a good year to do it?
A combination of things, really. It's the first summer in a while that we've decided just to kind of exclusively play festivals. That was probably the main reason, because we did our own world tour a couple of years back, and prior to that, we never kind of fell into place. And I think there was a little bit of history between us and certain people at Glastonbury who've moved on, and I think that just made it a little bit easier for them to invite us back. So it just fell into place, really. So yeah. I'm pleased that it did.
That's good. And your first Glastonbury, what are the memories from that?
If you remember your first Glastonbury, you weren't there. Isn't that one of those old sayings? Yeah, I mean, we all felt really, it was like a milestone thing, you know. Everyone was like, wow, we're headlining Glastonbury. I mean, it was 86, so we'd only been going for like 7 years. It seemed a lot longer in some ways, but in other ways it was like, whoa, you know, it means something. I know that one of those 3 really was muddy. I mean, just like beyond mud, sort of, the whole world turned into mud, and yeah, so it might have been the first one.
And is it a challenge when there is that mud thing going on and you're looking out at a sea of people who are just brown and muddy and wet?
Because of my upbringing, I actually felt really guilty, you know, that I was undercover and not getting soaked and muddy myself. Although I think that some people, to try and make me feel like being a more part of what was going on, did chuck mud at me. So,
very nice.
Yeah.
Have you had a Glastonbury when you've actually been able to enjoy the festival itself and go and have some adventures? I've
never been to a festival ever that I haven't actually performed at.
Really?
In my life, no. I enjoy festivals. I asked to be involved in Who's on the Bill, particularly on our day, purely so I can go down there early and see some bands that I want to see. So pretty much every festival so far this summer, we're on about number 7 or 8, Glastonbury's going to be. Yeah, I've seen some really, really good bands.
Oh, go on, who? Who have you enjoyed?
Well, actually, the band that I've been most impressed by, which is not really a surprise, that I have never seen before, maybe this is similar to you saying you haven't seen us, it was the Foo Fighters. They played with us a couple of nights last weekend in Germany. I got to see them on the Sunday night, and yeah, it was overwhelmingly good. I was really kind of blown away by it, actually. One of the best festival bands I've ever seen in my life.
So, oh, wow. Because they headlined on Saturday last time Glastonbury was on. Have you watched much Glastonbury coverage?
I have actually purposely watched quite a bit of the Glastonbury footage from 2 years ago, just to see what had changed and what the vibe was like and kind of who was playing, what was expected. I mean, it has changed in character since we last played it. Essentially, when we get on stage, we just do what we do, and hopefully people get into it. It's like, and if they do, we do more, and they do more. It's like... So yeah, it's much more about the songs and the show really than the actual event, because if you sort of plonk us down anywhere and ask us to play, I think we pretty much approach it in the same way, whether it's like in a club or whether it's Glastonbury main stage. So.
Will you be extra nervous doing it this time round, or will it be more significant, or you're just going to phase that all out of your head and just go on and do your thing?
I never get nervous.
Do you not?
No, never. I've never been nervous. It's just a funny thing with me.
That's good.
I don't know what's the matter with me. That wire's missing. But the rest of the band, they do get in varying degrees sort of like almost paralysed with nerves as the show approaches. I'm always running around saying, come on, you know, enjoy it.
Do you get excited?
You won't get it back. It's yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, when you walk out, I mean, we'll know what we're doing, but until that moment, I try, you know, we just kind of go through our routines and just kind of like try and remain focused, as they say. It is difficult because you've got like so much going on. Festivals, particularly like Glastonbury, particularly English festivals, like lots of our families come and friends and stuff, so there's often upwards of 100 people milling about. So it's more difficult in some ways to stay focused on the show, but yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
And have you worked out the set list? Do you know what you're playing yet, and which order? Or is it going to be different for Glastonbury than in the other festivals that you've done?
Well, we've changed it a couple of times already. So what we generally do when we're playing festivals is we have 3 set lists on the go, and we kind of modify each one. So each one has a different beginning and end, and then we change about the songs in the middle depending on what the day is, who's playing before us, who's playing after us, who's playing the festival, what kind of crowd it's going to be, what the weather's like, all those kinds of things. So it's not really until about an hour before that I issue I stand there at the gates and say, this is tonight's set list, and it gets printed up. So no one really knows what we're going to do until about an hour before the show, because it also keeps everyone a little bit kind of on their toes rather than thinking we know what we're going to play. So I kind of know what I would like to play, but I present the 3 set lists and the band can kind of decide which one we're going to do.
So will there be new material? Because there is a new album coming out, which is incredibly dark. Is that the right thing?
Yes, okay. So rehearsing for the summer festivals, we did spend a day running through new stuff, and at the end of it we just looked at each other and thought none of this is going to work in a festival setting. It isn't going to work. So I've learned something over the last few years, that if you want to have a good festival show, you have to engage the crowd. They have to be on your side. You want them to love you. It's not necessarily the case when you're playing your own shows. You kind of challenge people a bit more. But Glastonbury, they have no idea who's on, and until it's announced. So people buy tickets as an event. We're just a small part of the event. And so the show, whatever form it takes, it will be songs that people know. I mean, we played Hyde Park last year, and it was it showed me that if you play the right songs in the right order, in the right way, you will get a crowd, however big it is, to kind of to go along that, with you. And that's really what I want when we step out on stage. I want the crowd to kind of be part of the show, not for us to stand there and say, here's 10 minutes of doom and gloom, you better enjoy it.
And the new album, when will that be coming? Have you got an idea when that's coming out?
Well, I have to finish singing about 4 or 5 songs left, and it has to get mixed. So I'm still aiming for it to be kind of an autumn release, because I think it will be the right time of year, kind of early November, mid-November, that kind of. When it's got really, really miserable, when people are prepared to sit down and listen to it.
Will you come in on the show then and talk about the album?
I'd love to.
Would you do that? I would so love that. That would be great, and we can talk about the new album then. So many bands come into the studio and they come on the show and they talk about bands that have been a major influence, and The Cure come up time and time and time and time again. I think Brandon Flowers is the one person who is the most passionate about The Cure. Have you met him? Have you done stuff together?
Yeah, I've met him a few times, yeah. In fact, the very first time I met him, he didn't introduce himself. He thrust a bottle of very expensive tequila into my hands and kind of ran off. And I was like, who was that? So yeah, since then I have had a conversation. He's a lovely, lovely man. They're just the masters at getting a crowd going. So
yeah. So nice to talk to you. I'll be looking forward very much indeed to seeing the show later on. Have fun.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you later in the year.
See you, Robert. Bye.
Bye.